Well, jury selection is underway in a landmark sex abuse lawsuit against Delbarton School, a prominent Catholic prep school in Morristown. The case, filed by a former student known only as TM, accuses Benedictine monk Father Richard Lott of sexually abusing him as a child in the 1970s. It's the first civil sex abuse case against the Catholic Church in New Jersey to go to trial, but it's not the first time the school has been in the spotlight for abuse allegations. Delbarton and the Order of St. Benedict, which owns and operates the school, faces 39 pending lawsuits, while dozens of other cases have already been settled, including that of Billy Crane, who, along with his twin brother, sued the school in 2012, alleging abuse by two priests decades ago, and he joins me now. Billy, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show and for being willing to share your story, as I know you've done many times. What made you and your brother get to that decision? Why did you decide at that moment to come forward?
It was time to expose the culture at Delbarton, and obviously with allocations and other students coming forward, we wanted to start advocating for the victims because the school was unwilling to do that and still unwilling to this day. The whole greater Delbarton community has not extended any charity or advocacy for any of the victims. And we simply came forward to drive a much needed change in the culture.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned that there were others, but at what point did you realize that you weren't alone, that there was, as you call it, a culture, this culture of abuse at this school?
When I got out of the Navy, I actually worked in the maintenance department at Delbarton, and we had access to the priests' private cloisters for maintenance, such as electrical, changing the light, plumbing, and I the rooms were filled with pornography and women's lingerie, and it stirred up emotion with me, and realized that it hadn't changed. So this is what happened to me when I was age 10 and 11 at the school, living on the grounds when my dad was a teacher there.
Yeah, I mean, it was really like a second home for your family. No, this was a
It,
place
it
that
really
you're,
it really was,
yeah.
and it was family there. So that's and we remained family until we came forward. We dealt with them behind closed doors, and asked them to do the right thing, and they were unwilling to do the right thing, even with all their investigators, their Abbey Review Board. And that's when, with our attorney, Greg Jennifer Carroll, we decided the only action recourse we had was filing our case through the judicial system.
Your
And
case,
obviously that,
no, go on,
and obviously
continue.
that, obviously that brought more victims forward. So we knew we weren't alone.
Have you connected with those victims, Billy? I know you do a lot of advocacy work. Your case was settled in 2018. What have those discussions been like?
Very tough. Lives have been shattered. Relationships are tough, and it's a very ugly subject to talk about. So it takes a tremendous amount of courage, and very thankful that I have a really good support group with my family, and particularly my son Sean. And it's been great to connect with the victims. It's a double-edged sword. It's tragic, and at the same time, it's encouraging. And I think it's also fair to share at this time through the litigation process. All Delbarton did was intimidate us and did everything they could to destroy us. So my relationship, unfortunately, I divorced in 2017 because it was so overwhelming and taxing. And I got the same feedback with other victims, including John Ruane, who also has a lawsuit filed with Robbins Kaplan, and he said, "Yeah, Billy, you weren't kidding." And John died earlier this year from a brain tumor with surgery. So he's no longer here, and there's several other victims at the school um, resorted to alcoholism. They all died premature deaths as well, and so that's with this case coming forward with TM. It's monumental. And finally, we got somebody that we're going to be there vicariously with and see the whole culture exposed at Delbarton. And that's really what needs to take place. They've been very successful with their lawyers, intimidating and internalizing the whole culture of abuse. And the Abbey should be shut down altogether. There should be no member of the clergy in headmaster, because once again, all that does is internalize, and they control. A small rudder steers a big ship, and the rudder that steers the ship at Delbarton is corrupt, and it needs much needed change.
I'd love to get your take on this. We reached out for a statement from Delbarton. Here's what they had to say today. Nothing is more important to us than the safety of the young people entrusted to our care, and we aggressively adhere to rigorous standards to ensure their well-being. Please note that both St. Mary's Abbey and Delbarton School are accredited by Presidium, an independent risk management organization that audits procedures to ensure a safe environment. Now, that's from both St. Mary's Abbey and the headmaster. How does that square with you?
It's a PR stunt, is what it is. So there's no validity behind it, and where do they communicate that there's advocacy for the victims and that we're here to support you? We have a moment of silence. You're still a part of our brotherhood. So that's what's lacking, and Presidium is a joke because. Bishop Elias Lorenzo is on the board at Presidium, and you can look that up.
He's been accused as well, yes.
Yes, but he's actually on the board at Presidium. So is it the Rooster Garden, the hen house here? I mean, what's going on? So there's no, they have zero minus zero credibility with what they've done for the last 30 years, and that's all they've done is intimidate people. And so this is a day of reckoning. It's monumental. The culture is going to be exposed, and much needed change is coming. And unfortunately, the whole Delbarton greater community failed miserably in giving their fellow classmates and people that were sexually abused numerous times at the school any support. Their lawyers have intimidated and created this culture that, once again, and it's an accepted culture among the clergy. This is a never-ending scandal, which sees no end. Today, in the courtroom with the jury selection, we want to move forward with ending this scandal altogether and allow the much-needed healing and change to begin.
Billy Crane, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Again, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for giving victims and survivors a voice. It's well appreciated. Thank you.